first, let me thank Governor Bredesen for his sterling leadership. You know, Tennessee's in a lot better shape than a lot of states are, thanks to Phil Bredesen, and I hope the voters will remember that when we have to vote for a new governor. I also want to thank you because I'm getting to speak under normal circumstances tonight, and I'm grateful for that. In 1991, when I came here as a prospective candidate and governor of Arkansas, the only reason I got to speak is that Jay Rockefeller, the scheduled speaker, choked on a chicken bone and had to go to the hospital. I trust all the previous speakers are in good health. I'd also like to thank the co-chair of the dinner, Congressman Harold Ford, my good friend, and Mayor Dean, and Chairman Forrester, thank you for your leadership. I want to say a special word of gratitude to my good friend Ed Ray McWhirter. Governor McWhirter, thank you very much. And Senator Harlan Matthews, thank you for the votes that you cast for a better America when we were together. Jim Hall, thank you for the work you did as chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board. And I want to say a word for somebody who's not here. One of my favorite Democrats ever, Johnny Hayes. I know his wife and daughter are here. I love him very much, and we miss you tonight, Johnny. Congressman Tanner, Davis, and Cooper, thank you for being here. Shelby County Mayor Warden, thank you for being here. And most important of all, I want to thank Al Gore for many things. He's the best vice president this country ever had. And if you think about the difference between Al Gore and Dick Cheney, no one can ever say it doesn't matter who the vice president is. I also want the home folks in Tennessee to know one other thing. Governor Bredesen said if he ever got in trouble in some foreign country, he wanted me to come get him. But well, let me be serious. I have not and will not, I haven't made any public comments, and I don't intend to tonight about what went on when I had the honor to go to North Korea. But you should know one thing. Those two young women worked for Al Gore at Current TV. And he managed an enormously complicated set of discussions back and forth that went on for much longer than anybody knows. He did it with discretion. It never broke in the newspaper. The whole thing would have been wrecked. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for the success of that operation. I don't know if you know that. I also want to join Al in thanking you for voting for us in 1992 and 1996. We're grateful for that. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for Hillary, too. I'm very grateful for that. Al and Hillary and I were together earlier today at Senator Kennedy's funeral, and I know a lot of you saw it on television. The president spoke, and he was really terrific, I thought. And Senator Kennedy's sons were magnificent. You know, everybody, I think, dreams of being sent to rest with their children loving them like that. But it made me think a little bit about what I wanted to say to you tonight. Amidst all the complicated decisions that the members of Congress here are confronted with on the economy, on health care, on energy, I'd like to say just a few things about how we came to be here. In 1992, when Al and I ran, we were trying to break the hold of the right-wing Republican establishment on the presidency and on the country. We were trying to at least mark the beginning of the end of their dominance, which started 41 years ago in 1968 when I was just a young man. I remember it as if it were yesterday. The country was so divided over race, over riots in the cities, over the war in Vietnam, over the role of women in society. And a lot of people felt that they didn't know what was going to happen next. They felt alienated and disoriented. And Richard Nixon won that race. And from that day until we won, the Republicans kept winning, except when President Carter won in the aftermath of Watergate, because they had a bigger base. And I want to talk a little politics and what we Democrats ought to be doing and what you should be doing to support your members of Congress now. National politics is determined by three factors: the culture of the country, the conditions of the time, and the quality of the candidates. That's what determines presidential elections. It's what shapes midterm congressional elections. Now, the culture, as every Tennessee Democrat knows, worked against us for a long time. It's no accident that there were two Southern governors who ran and we had an all-Southern ticket. And we might not have stood it by if we hadn't. Because the culture was against us. They had a base of about 45%. We had a base of about 40%. That meant that we had to be twice as good as they were. We had to win 2 out of 3 undecided votes. And in our second term, when Al and I were serving, the bases got closer to even because people approved of the performance of the administration and because America was growing more diverse, just as Tennessee has, just as Arkansas has. In what used to be an all-white area in northwest Arkansas, the Catholic churches have to have Mass in Spanish now every Sunday along with English. And I'm sure that you see that in other places here. So, what happened after the Supreme Court voted 5-4 in what I think was, Al's been a bigger man about this than I was. That was one of the worst decisions ever handed down by the Supreme Court of the United States, and it will go down in history as such. But anyway, after they did that, finally we saw an illustration of the old proverb that life's greatest curse can be answered prayers. Because for the first time, the American people got to see what it would be like if the Republicans actually got to do what they've been making sound so good all those years. Because they had the White House and the Congress. Meanwhile, underneath that, America kept growing more diverse and more impatient with the politics of division. So by 2006, the Democrats won a huge victory in the congressional races because the conditions were bad for the Republicans, their performance was bad, and people finally saw what they were up to. And I'll never forget, on the day after that election, I told Hillary, I said, if we don't nominate a convicted felon in 2008, we're going to win the White House. And so in 2008, think of the three things. By then, the cultural balance was in our favor. The conditions were terrible for them, and we had a better candidate in Barack Obama. So we won.